I was born in Alaska, in the interior, in Fairbanks. And so I'm half Athabascan. And my dad is white, English, and Scottish from the East Coast, Boston area.
And tell me about home life. What was it like growing up for you?
Well, I was a city girl, so driving home to the village like 6 hours away all the time for weekends, birthdays, all holidays. From Anchorage to Nenana is my village.
Like small?
Yeah, so, and I have two villages, one where my grandma's from and one where my grandpa's from. One's about 1 hour from Fairbanks, which is a small city. And then Minto is like 3.5 hours from Fairbanks.
Okay, gotcha.
And that one's very rural. There's not many non-natives that live there, except for that work at the post office or teach at the school or stuff like that. But Nenana is mostly where we would go, and that one's like a little city, and is Nenana, city of Nenana and Nenana Native Village. But I don't know what the population is. It's very small.
Did you guys do like have cultural like gatherings, and was cultural food part of?
We have every fall we have potlatches, and those would be like memorial potlatches for in memory of a family member that's passed, or to celebrate the bounty of your harvesting all summer, and like for berries and fish. And everyone in the village comes to those. And they fill up a tribal hall, and everybody cooks and brings something. So it's like, people are like, oh, you mean potluck? And I'm like, it's called a potlatch. But yes, it's like a potluck.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And, bring some of their bounty that they've gathered. We mostly eat moose meat and salmon and berries. And so even while I lived in Seattle for the last 10 years, minus the whole COVID, because COVID stopped my going home, I went home every year during fall to pick berries, and to me it was very important. I'm like, I need blueberries to survive the winter.
Yeah. That's
I
just
fill my
instilled,
freezer,
ingrained in you, right?
And to visit my grandma.
Yeah.
And my cousins. I have 27 first cousins.
Nice.
They're like brothers and sisters, because we were really close, but we are really close.
Do you have like siblings growing up too?
Yeah, I have one sister.
Gotcha.
She lives in Olympia right now.
Yeah. What did you guys do for fun? Besides that sounds amazing. What did you guys do?
You took it for granted because it is fun, and it was fun, but it was like, oh, we're gonna go on the freaking road again.
Yeah, of course.
But in Anchorage, growing up, I think my parents took us outside a lot to hiking or go look at the waterfalls. Anchorage is south central, so it's in the middle, right on the bottom next to the ocean. And so see if we see the whales or just that kind of stuff. But we kind of stayed in the same neighborhood for a long time, so playing out with friends and dealing with my strict mom. Most thing I remember about playing out is how much we had to check in.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I want you here every hour, on the hour.
A worried mom.
And I want to see your face.
What was she worried about? Like,
I don't know,
just worried mom.
Getting into, don't be getting into anything. Okay.
And so did you do school and like?
Yeah, I went to all the way through my first year of high school there, and then I started skipping school, and they get a robocop from the school that your student missed one or more classes today. And that started happening, and I got a boyfriend, and so all these things my mom was like, I'm going to send you to boarding school if you don't, watch out. Like, and I thought she was kidding, but she wasn't. She sent me for 10th and 11th grade. I went to Chemawa Indian boarding school.
Your sister too, or just you?
Just me.
Just you. What was that like?
Man, that was crazy. Like, she thought I was being bad then, but I wasn't. I was getting into a little mischief, but I wasn't drinking or drugging or doing anything crazy.
Kind of typical teenage exploration behavior,
but
whatever
then,
you want to call it.
Boy, when she sent me to boarding school, it's all Native Americans from all over the country. There's someone from like every reservation.
In Alaska still?
No. The school was in Salem, Oregon.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so someone from reservations all over, and people from Alaska. We don't have reservations in Alaska,
gotcha.
But some people were sent there like me, and some people couldn't wait till they could go there because they wanted to get away from the reservation or their family or whatever it is. So,
but you're like, what, 15 around there? Mm-hmm. And you get on a plane and they...
Yeah.
What was the feeling?
Oh man, I'm like, what are you thinking? I can't go to boarding school. I have friends, a boyfriend. So I cried and cried and cried.
Yeah.
I cried like probably for a week before I went. I cried while I got there, when I got there, and I called everyone in my family, begging them, telling them my mom's fucking crazy.
All the cousins.
Yeah.
Come get me.
All my aunties. And my great aunt, she said, okay, if in 2 weeks you still feel like this, I'll bring you home no matter what your mom says. And she's my mom's auntie, my great auntie. So she wasn't lying. She'll do whatever she wants. And I believed her, so I said, okay, thank you. Good, now I only have to be here for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But then in 2 weeks' time, I was happy.
Oh, really? What changed?
I don't know. I just got to know people, and I saw my first powwow, and I went there with friends, like my best friend growing up. We're in the same grade. We're only like 4 days apart at birth, and we went together. And his older sisters were already there. And
okay, so it was kind of a soft landing.
Yeah,
per se.
And, I had never lived outside of Alaska before. I'd been to Hawaii twice as a kid, but it was a culture shock. It was like I was like, I thought we were going to a different town. And they're like, yeah, we're in a different city now. I'm like, but we never left the city. Like, there's no space between cities here. How come we're driving on this freeway and I just see
city
busyness
city.
constantly? Yeah. Like, when I go to a different city in Alaska, I don't see anything but wilderness for hours.
Right.
So that was crazy.
So you finished that 2 years.
Yeah.
And I guess you graduate?
Well, I went there for 10th and 11th grade.
Okay, 10th and 11th, got it.
I did get into mischief there. There's a lot of people, expert mischief makers there. And so both years that I went there, I got sent to a treatment center because they had a very strict, like, you get caught once, we do this. You get caught twice, we do this. And then you're in a program, you're going to meetings with your peers, then you get moved into a special dorm of troublemakers, and then you have to go to treatment, and then you're in the treatment dorm. And so I was always in a program there, and I went to treatment twice. And while I was in 11th grade, my family moved to Seattle. So when I went home for Thanksgiving in that 11th year, it was here to Seattle.
Yeah, so Salem to Seattle.
Yeah.
Seattle was your new home.
Yep. And like for prom and stuff, my parents just drove over and took me shopping and such. And then for 12th grade, I stayed here. We ended up living in Edmonds. I went to Edmonds Woodway High School, and then I graduated there. The day after I graduated, I went right back to Alaska because I was
really?
like, looking back on it, I think I needed to leave there on my own terms. Like, you can't just...
Yeah, your own choice.
I thought I was going to go home, not to this new home.
Yeah.
So I went back to Alaska for some years until my sister had a baby, and she lived here still. So having a nephew made me hop on a plane and come back to Seattle.
Right.
And I was like 23 by then.
Yeah, I was going to ask what was happening in your 20s.
Well, I moved right back to Alaska, and so I'm like, graduation June 10th, fly to Alaska June 11th. And I lived in the village, and I never really lived in the village before that I could remember. I always lived in Anchorage. So I lived there for a while and worked taking care of all kinds of children in the village. And
I imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, it's very community centric.
Yep.
Everyone's helping everybody.
Yeah. People are always like, oh, I saw you and the kids today. And I have like 10 kids trailing behind me going to the playground. So I did that, and then I got a job working at an AmeriCorps program there. And then around 21, when I was 21, my house that I lived in there burnt down. So I took that opportunity to make a new start and go live in Anchorage.
Gotcha.
So I went from the village back to the city, and I worked like a few jobs because at 21 I started drinking. So I was figuring out how to work through a hangover. And
Yeah, I think most people at 21 are trying to figure that stuff out.
I got fired a couple times, but I had good jobs. Like I worked for my native corporation.
Oh, nice.
Doing accounting to pay all the bills for the North Slope where everyone works on the pipeline. So, yeah.
But then 23, come back to Seattle.
Yep. Come back to Seattle and take care of my nephew while my sister is working. And
did you live with them, or did you have a place to stay and all that?
I lived with her, and she was in recovery. She had been using for a long time, and then having the baby made her want to seek recovery. So she was doing well at that, and it was a busy life for them. They always had a meeting to go to, and her boyfriend had 2 children, so they were a merged family of, now they have 3 kids. And so I was helping with the kids and driving kids places and meeting people. So then I started hanging out with people that I figured out were doing drugs, like meth. And I never saw that in Alaska. There was no meth. Like, there was drinking and some cocaine here and there, but no, I didn't know anybody that did drugs every day or did that kind of thing that made you not eat or,
Yeah,
not
kind of,
live
you say
a
more
life.
harder drugs.
Yeah. And I don't think that it was really, I don't think it had a presence in Alaska, really, that type of drug. So I figured out real quickly that I didn't want any part of that, and I just kind of steered clear of those people. But out of it, I got a friend that got sober because she wanted to be my friend, and I was like, no, I can't be your friend. So she ended up going to treatment, and she got clean from drugs, and we were friends for 15 years until, like, during COVID, she was doing drugs and got I can't say she got me started, but she did. And I took it from there, but...
Well, I mean, I look at illegal drugs, there's legal drugs.
Yeah.
A lot of people use these things to cope with something.
Yeah.
And just to kind of numb out, check out.
And I think,
We
looking
all-
back...
We all have that.
Yeah. I had good coping skills because I'd been sent to treatment.
Right, so you knew the language, you knew that had the tools, right?
Yeah. So I think that got me through, you know, to like age 38 of being pretty strong-minded about not...
What do you think? Was it COVID? Do you think that kind of was a catalyst?
It was just kind of a
Or a storm?
cluster of things to cope with.
Yeah.
But for her, she had a surgery and she got prescribed pain medication. And it just spiraled until she was kicked off her pain management plan. And then we're looking around to find her some street pain medicine, and and we were able to do that. And then she starts finding these blue pills, and we would never, like, no, not those, not the bad pills. We need real pills, and it just eventually came to where we tried those blue pills. But yeah, crazy. So I feel like I skipped some stuff though. What was that? But 23, I moved back here. I'm helping with the kids, and I went back to Alaska for some time, I feel. Oh no, maybe not. I stayed here. So I'm 21, I'm working jobs here. First I take care of the kids, then I start getting jobs and get in a relationship. And in that relationship I drank a lot. And I kind of just did that whole being a super auntie, also drinking a lot, but managing to keep an apartment and a car and a life, you know.
Yeah.
Take road trips to see my family up in Bellingham or down to Puyallup, and I like to go to all the festivals like Folk Life and Bite of Seattle and all the powwows, and just like to be busy. I like to partake in the festivities.
And I was talking earlier, I'm a parent, and you said something about that?
Oh yeah, so 21 through 29 I'm drinking, and then whoops, I got pregnant.
At 29?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that stopped the drinking, and I was in a new relationship. So we made a family, and I lived in Edmonds.
A boy or a girl or what?
Yeah, I have a son, Donovan. He's 12 now.
Nice.
And yeah, we lived in Edmonds for 11 years.
Yeah.
He's over in Suquamish right now with his dad. He's a Suquamish tribal member.
Tell me about Donovan. What's he like?
He is, I don't know. He's handsome. He's more Native than I am. I'm half, because my mom's full Native, and his dad Tony is more than half from Suquamish and Puyallup tribes, and so my son ended up getting to be more than half Native. He's got a quarter from me and more than a quarter from his dad, and he's got my great uncle who has a nickname for everyone in the family and a song, and likes to tease. His nickname for Donovan is Tribal Baby. And Donovan likes that name. He's very proud to be Native.
Yeah. You talk to him?
Yeah, I miss him. I haven't been talking to him like I should, because I'm just caught up in nonsense.
Yeah. Well, I have girls that just turned 9 and 11, and they're like everything to me. And again, I was telling you earlier, like I meet a lot of parents out here who are away from their kids, and that would destroy me and cause tremendous pain that I would have to cope with.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So I'm, when me and Tony split up, I had tried pills a couple times with Sheena, my friend, and after we broke up and he took my son, I started using a lot. And so now I'm trying to balance getting to where I need to be his mom again, and just dealing with dealing with it. But it's a lot harder than I had judged before, because my sister has been an addict for a long time, and I always thought that I was such a supportive person to her, and I'd always be there when she would go through treatment or stuff like that, and but I would say things like, how can you be away from your kids? How could you, why don't you just stop? Do what you're supposed to. And she'd say, I don't know. I use, and it makes the pain of it go away.
Yeah.
And then that makes me forget what I'm supposed to be doing, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a cycle, right?
Yeah. And so I get that now, but...
Well, Angela, are you currently unhoused? Or are you housed?
I'm unhoused.
So tell me about that. How did that happen?
Well, after me and Tony broke up, I stayed in our apartment for like a year, but when we first moved there, it was $900 and something, and when I left, it was $1,850 plus my electricity bill, plus water, sewer, garbage bill, and we had both worked that whole time, so we easily afforded our rent and our bills and all the things we
double
did.
income coming in, cover the bills.
So when I was by myself, COVID had already happened, and I was working at Premier Blue Cross for 9 years, and I got laid off after. So COVID started, and then I was working from home for a while.
Right.
And then I went back in the office, and then I got laid off. They would have these huge layoffs every couple of years, and I managed to survive several of those. But then I got laid off, and then because of COVID, unemployment was enough for me to just not work. I was bringing as much as I did with my
You're
paycheck.
able to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And was this time was Donovan living with you?
Yeah, me and Donovan and Tony. But when we broke up, Donovan stayed with me.
Okay.
And he'd go back and forth to Suquamish, which is a ferry ride from Edmonds to Kingston, until he just didn't bring him back one time. But even then, I tried to deal with the court side of all of that, and just talked to Donovan every night on Zoom, and he didn't really understand what was going on, but I did my best to explain to him, we're dealing with a judge, and judges make decisions about what families should do and when we break up, and we're just trying to get all of the information in front of the judge and, try to not show that I hated his fucking dad.
That process is so brutal and stressful.
Yeah. And he was pretty brutal about not letting me see Donovan, but except for on video.
Wow.
And I don't know. Then I wasn't able to pay the rent.
Gotcha.
So I got behind, and eventually I got evicted. So I came to stay with my parents in Ballard. They had an apartment there, and kind of a rocky relationship with my mom, so I'd go stay with friends usually, but that was my home base.
She was strict. She's asking you to check in every hour. Still.
Yeah, pretty much. And so I had a room there and all my stuff there and all my clothes there, and I'd go home every few days and, fiddle around and help out, bring groceries and wash laundry and get some more clothes and take off.
Yeah.
And then my dad died in February. And then my mom started going out and coping. And she got evicted. I just went there like last week and found it to be empty. And I didn't know. So now I have no home base. And I don't know where my mom is. So I'm trying to get enough together to go to Olympia and see my sister and reconnect with where's mom.
Man, that is hard.
Yeah.
So your mom, she's could be in Ballard. You don't know.
Well, she was looking for me a couple days ago. She came here to Ballard, and she had a flyer with my picture on it. She thinks I'm missing, but she talked to enough people to realize that I'm not. And she had her phone number on it, so
okay.
I need to find her phone number and call her, or just go to her house. And
so she's housed now, or
yeah.
Okay, so she has a place again.
Yeah. But somebody said that your sister is looking for you. Perry is the first person I saw when I came back to Ballard from visiting friends in Capitol Hill, and I'd been gone a few days or a week or something. And I came back, and then the next morning I went out and I run into Perry, and he's like, "Hey, do you know who's looking for you?" I was like, "No." And he's like, "Really?"
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, "Your sister's been looking for you. She had a flyer."
So your sister's come up here from Olympia.
Yeah.
And they're looking for you.
Yeah. Huh. And then I said, "Oh my." So then if she talked to a bunch of people, she probably got pointed towards my boyfriend. And I mostly stay with him. So, if she talked to 5 people even, she got eventually to someone that said, "Oh, she's probably at Preston's." And so I caught up with my boyfriend, and he said, "Yeah, I people were telling me that, so I have the phone number for you." And so now I need to find him and get the phone number and call my sister.
Yeah.
Because he said, somebody said that your mom is in a home. And I'm like, "What does that mean?" He said, "I don't know." So I feel like something happened to my mom, and she may be in some rehabilitation center or something.
Yeah, you can only guess what
Yeah.
home means, right? It can mean lots of things.
I don't know. So that brings us all the way to today, and what I'm doing is trying to get reconnected with my family after hearing all this, looking for me, and something happened to my mom business. But so I think when I first heard that we were gonna have this conversation and stuff, I thought, oh, I'm not even gonna get into what's going on today, but it came out.
That's okay. It's totally okay. I mean, it's like our stories are still being written. Like, we're in the middle of them.
Yeah, we are.
And they're still happening. This is not the end of our story.
Yeah.
This is a piece. And we are complicated beings, and we have all these parts to us, in Alaska and culture and mom and all this stuff. And we're all at different places in life. And I think, again, I do this so people understand, like, hey, people are at different places in life. Mm-hmm. And things happen, and there's different roads and paths and choices, and it's not all the same.
I wish I'd seen something like this 20 or 15 years ago, because what I've learned in the last 2 years, it makes me feel like I was so stupid when I thought I was so smart. And I was so judgmental when I thought I was so non-judgmental. And that I didn't understand anything. I didn't even understand what the important things in this life are. And it's nothing that I filled my apartment with. It's not the money I gave to people, or the situations I helped out with. Looking back, my life was too easy. Like, I didn't grow or face any challenges of my own for so long, because I was just steady doing the right things. And so I feel like the last 2 years has been a crash course of lessons that maybe if I was really living, I would have been learning periodically throughout my life. But the universe will show us what we need to know while we're here. And if we don't figure it out, it has its ways of putting us in those situations.
That's right, sure it does.
I mean, that's sometimes the best way to learn. I thought certain kind of ways about homelessness, and now I know what it's like.
Angela, is there anything that you want to say to the people of Seattle?
Yeah, I think that if back then I would have just been willing to be okay with knowing that I didn't know everything, and that there's lots to learn, and that the range of things going on with homeless people, why they're there, how long they've been there, the potential they have to get out of it is so wide and crazy that there's no blanket judgment that covers any portion of it. So best to not have any at all, and to be kind. I see so many unkind encounters, and I don't look like a homeless person, or I don't know, the stigma doesn't follow me as much in the store or walking down the street. But if I'm with someone that it does, I see the difference. And that's I'm sad for the people that
Yeah.
are not being kind. So best to be kind and to try and understand what you obviously don't understand if you're feeling any type of negative way about homelessness. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing part of your story. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You open for a hug?
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Hang in there.